You want love to feel real. You want it to feel earned, reliable, unwavering. You want to know that when someone says they care, they actually mean it. That they'll stay. That they won't flinch when things get hard. But sometimes, without realizing it, you test their love. Not because you're manipulative. Not because you're trying to play games. But because something in you is still scared. Still unsure. Still asking, can I trust this? Will they leave like the others did? Do they love the real me, or just who I pretend to be? Carl Jung said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. And sometimes, the most absurd things we do look like quiet, subtle tests. We push. We pull. We withdraw. We make them prove it again and again. Not to hurt them, but to soothe the part of us that never learned how to feel safe in love. So today, we're unpacking 8 hidden ways you may be testing their love, without even knowing it. Because the moment you bring awareness to the pattern, is the moment you can choose something different. Let's begin. 1. You emotionally disappear, just to see if they'll chase you. Maybe it's a slow fade. Maybe it's hours of silence after a disagreement. Maybe you cancel plans, stop responding, or go cold in conversation. Not because you've stopped caring, but because part of you needs to know. Will they notice I pulled away? Will they come after me? Will they fight for me, or let me go? This test isn't about control. It's about fear. The fear of being forgotten. The fear of being the one who always does the reaching. The fear that if you don't disappear, they might. But here's what you must remember. Emotional connection can't be measured by how someone reacts to your withdrawal. It's built through mutual presence, not performative distance. If you want reassurance, ask for it. If you need closeness, express it. Because disappearing to see who notices often hurts both of you in the end. 2. You criticize small things to see if they'll still stay. You pick at their habits. You point out flaws. You say things like, "Why do you always do that?" Or, "You're not as thoughtful as you used to be." Underneath the surface, you're not trying to belittle them, you're trying to trigger a response. You want to know, will they get defensive and pull away? Or will they stay, even when I'm not easy to love? This test comes from a place of emotional hypervigilance. You learned somewhere along the way that love is conditional. So now you test the conditions. But real love isn't measured by how much criticism it can survive. It's built when both people feel safe, seen, and respected. What if you softened? What if instead of jabs you asked for connection? What if you believed they could love you without needing to be tested through tension? 3. You pretend you don't care when you actually care too much. You say, "It's fine. No big deal. I don't need anything." But inside, you're hoping they'll read your silence. You're hoping they'll press further. You're hoping they'll know. This is one of the most common love tests. And it's one of the most dangerous. Because when you make someone guess how you feel, you teach them to stop asking. You're not testing their love. You're testing their ability to mind read. And when they fail, because they will, you interpret it as proof. They don't care. They don't try hard enough. I'm always too much or not enough. But what if the real test was telling the truth? I'm hurt. I want to feel closer to you. I need to know you're here, even when I'm not okay. Because honesty doesn't weaken love. It deepens it. 4. You create conflict just to see how much they can handle. Sometimes, when things feel too good, you unconsciously stir the pot. You bring up old wounds. You escalate small arguments. You say things you don't mean, just to see how they'll react. You don't want to sabotage. But part of you is testing the boundaries. How much of me can they handle? What happens when I'm not agreeable, pretty, calm, or perfect? You want to see them stay through the storm. Because only then does it feel safe. Only then does your heart whisper, "Okay, maybe this is real." But love isn't proven through unnecessary fires. It's revealed through emotional maturity. Through how two people navigate pain together, not how often it's manufactured. If you want to know they can stay through hard things, let those things come naturally. Life provides plenty of tests. You don't have to create them. 5. You withhold affection to see if they'll earn it. You pull back on compliments. You stop initiating. You become distant or cold, especially after they upset you. Not out of cruelty, but because you want to see what happens. Will they try harder? Will they fight for my attention? Will they still show up for me even when I don't make it easy? At its core, this is about control. And it's also about fear. The fear of giving too much. The fear of being taken for granted. The fear that if you're always loving, they'll stop valuing you. But withholding affection teaches them to distrust closeness, to question when your warmth is real, to associate safety with tension. Healthy love doesn't thrive on power games. It grows when both people give, not to get something back, but because they want to keep building a home together. You don't have to make them earn your love every day. They already did, by choosing you and showing up. 6. You compare them to your past, silently or out loud. Maybe you say things like, "My ex never did that." Or maybe you just think it. "He's too soft. She doesn't challenge me enough." What you're really doing is testing whether this new love can outshine your old pain. You're not comparing people. You're comparing emotional imprints. You're asking, will this feel familiar enough to be real? Can I love them if they don't trigger the same chaos I mistook for passion? Carl Jung would call this the repetition compulsion. Your unconscious wants to relive the old pattern, because that's what it knows how to survive. But what if love doesn't have to feel like survival? What if stability isn't boring, it's what your nervous system has been begging for all along? Instead of comparing them to your past, compare how you feel in this connection. Do you feel safe? Seen? Supported? That's not a lack of passion. That's the presence of peace. And you deserve peace. 7. You delay the relationship just to see if they'll wait. You keep things vague. You downplay the connection. You say, let's just see where this goes, even though part of you wants more. You're not playing games. You're protecting yourself. You want to know, will they stick around even if I don't commit right away? Will they earn me? Will they wait until I feel fully safe? This test isn't about cruelty. It's about pacing. And sometimes, that pacing is informed by trauma. But be careful. Because in your effort to stay in control, you may be sending a signal. I don't value this. I'm not invested. I'm not ready for anything real. Eventually, they may stop waiting. Not because they don't care, but because they need to feel chosen, too. It's okay to move slow. But be honest about why. Because slow and distant are not the same thing. 8. You force them to prove you're lovable, over and over again. This is the deepest test. And the one rooted in the oldest pain. You ask for validation, then doubt it. You push them away, then punish them for not fighting harder. You constantly scan for signs that they're tired, annoyed, losing interest. You're not trying to drive them away. You're trying to heal a wound that says, I've never felt truly lovable, so I need you to keep proving I am. This test can exhaust a relationship. Because no matter how much they love you, you find a way to disqualify it. You're just saying that. You don't really mean it. If you knew the real me, you'd leave. But here's the truth. You don't need someone to keep proving your worth. You need to believe that you're worthy of love even when you're not being tested. Even when you're messy. Even when you're insecure. Even when you're afraid. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And who you truly are is already enough. Already worthy. Already lovable. You don't have to earn love by withholding it. You don't have to test people just to believe they care. You don't have to be hard to love to feel like you're worth keeping." Closing. So, do you see yourself in any of these? If you do, you're not broken. You're protective. You've learned to test love, because love, at some point, was unpredictable, inconsistent, or painful. But now, you know. And with awareness comes choice. You can ask for reassurance without pretending you're fine. You can express hurt without starting a fire. You can believe someone loves you without making them prove it in ways that hurt you both. Love isn't earned through silence, distance, or difficulty. It's built, moment by moment, through presence, truth, and trust. And now that you know the tests, maybe you're finally ready to let them go. Not because love is easy, but because love deserves a chance to grow, without having to pass a test first.